when you have somebody who goes to New York, for example, and takes a picture of Times Square or does a video of Times Square, you're never going to have people saying, "Oh my God, don't you know they run Guantanamo Bay? Don't you know what they did in Iraq? Don't you know?" You don't have this same equivalence. But when somebody takes this a video in China, they don't even have real things to point to. They're just like, "Oh my God, you know, how can you be doing this? China does this, and just regurgitates all this propaganda." It's like, it's the weirdest thing ever. It's like you don't have, so you almost get pulled into it. But
yeah, it's to the point where some of the stuff that's said is so ridiculous, and then it goes to another level of, how could you be such a dishonest person that could continue to point out stuff that's not true? So it goes in layers. First you say, "Oh, that, you know, no one's going to believe that garbage, are they? That these people are saying." Then it's like, you know, another layer of, it just gets to the point where you start to question the people that actually watch the content of such negative stuff that is just so ridiculous. Like
it's nutty. It gets really nutty.
I could never wake up in a world of hate like that. That just doesn't exist in my world. And you see some of the people that report on this country. I mean, look at you and I today. We're driving a car. We're chilling out. It's what day was it? Thursday. Thursday.
Yeah.
Thursday. Beautiful hills here. The skies. You know, the sky's blue. Everyone's like. So, if you listen to some of these, we'll call it anti-China people, they're just, what are you talking about? There's no such thing as a blue sky. It doesn't happen. Oh, and I heard people talking about a place that I can see from my window every day, saying, "Oh, it only looks good at night. Go there during the day, and it looks terrible." And I was like, "What the hell?" But imagine waking up and all you want to do is absolutely trash a country, its people. It's pathetic, and it's a miserable existence. And I'm going to finish on just this last point that I want to make is, what kind of person can actually live in that much, I'll say, cooped up hate in their body? I think what drives a person to that much madness is when they've come to a country like this and they experienced somebody appreciated them, when they've had some of the greatest times of their lives, and then when they screwed it up.
I don't really care if somebody in the West really believes this stuff about China anymore, because there's a momentum and China's moving in a positive direction that they can't stop anymore. It's just too late. Whereas before, I really did have the fear that this propaganda really could stop China.
Now, at the start, it's like looking, you know, at a person, and they go from maybe a university professor to a clown show. And that barometer it's gone all the way over to a clown show. So people ask me at the start of my videos, why do you put all these sound bits of Western media and other people saying, you know, really bad things about China? I said, because this is free content of people absolutely I couldn't pay anybody to act this ridiculous, right?
Yeah. The way that China responds to some of these criticisms, it really does leave a lot to be desired. Oh yeah, I gotta get a shot of this with look at all those art students, like you said. It's so cool. So many of them. Yeah, I usually bring the kids here, and we walk along the river here. Sometimes they rent out these inflatable kind of rafts too, that you can pull them in here. Yeah, that I'm caring less and less about whether they actually, you know, really believe the stuff they think about China or not. You know, I'm caring less about trying to convince these people I'd rather just spend more time enjoying myself in China, because there's, you know, and your videos are different because your videos always had quite a heavy focus on enjoyment. You know, what are the cool things about Chongqing? What are the things you're enjoying? You think that your system is superior, where you can hold your politicians accountable, and especially if you think your system is the exact kind of system that needs to be exported to these places that you supposedly care about, so that they can hold their own leaders accountable without first demonstrating that you actually have the capability to do that in your system that is supposedly superior. No, you can't do that. Get in line. Yeah, get Bush, get Obama, get all these people if you really care about this stuff. And I think that's the importance of pointing it out. When people are pretending to care about this stuff, that's exactly when you need to mention what their own societies are doing, because they should be far more concerned about what their own societies are doing.
But that's how I wound up on your channel. I kept hearing all this stuff about Hong Kong, and I was like, wait a minute, no, what's going on? I kept going through media, didn't find it. The same with the Ukraine-Russia conflict. Patrick Lancaster, I've been talking to this guy for a decade.
Yeah.
Okay? I was looking for answers to try to figure out what was going on in this region. How on earth would a Ukraine government fire on its own people, blow up a $500 million new airport? I mean, to me, the story started 10 years ago, or we'll call it the conflict 10 years ago. And here's a guy who was phoning me and says, yeah, fuck, they cut off the water now. He says they cut off the pensions, they cut off the banking system in this part of the conflict that we're talking about, the Donbass area.
Yeah.
And he went into detail with me. He was never a journalist at the time,
right,
but he felt that this story needed to be told. He married a local girl, and he's an important voice now because he's one of the only guys over there archiving what's going on that side.
Right.
And he's been doing it for a decade, and I've said that is the biggest treasure trove for tribunal video that you've ever seen in history, because what images came out of Syria? How can we show what happened? No one's reporting on it. Yeah. Yemen, no one's reporting on these areas. You don't see it
on the scale that you're getting for any of these other conflicts. I mean, you get things where you say, oh, you know, because people can point that out. They say, oh, no, there was a report here. It's like you get nowhere near the same amount of coverage when it's inconvenient people involved for professing your moral superiority. But you know what? We should continue this conversation on. Let's finish this off with some footage of the road and with our drone footage of that little river area. The reservoir, we got to come back. We got to come back and do that reservoir. It's really, really nice. And we can get that next time. But I hope you guys enjoyed the conversation. It's just kind of, eavesdropping in on me catching up with a friend and talking about random topics. If you like it, maybe we'll connect again for another one. Or like we were discussing earlier, we'll see where else my channel goes in the future. But thanks for joining us for this ride, guys, and I'll see you next time. Peace.